Hi, my name's Erin Yvonne with Hollywood Junket. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, and I love your look. I love your shoes, and is
Thank
that
you.
quartz, the necklace you have on?
This is actually from Thailand. I've been living in Thailand for quite a few years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And
I
so
love it.
this is a little power crystal.
Yeah.
And this was given to me by a gentleman that runs basically a city over there. They built a city outside of Bangkok called Dhammakai.
Oh,
And the
wow.
gentleman that runs that, he gave that to me as
Oh
a
my
present.
God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, I love this film.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to ask you, what inspired the concept of this magical film?
Well, I was in, I was in West Side Story.
Right.
When I was a young boy, 18 years old, and
that's amazing.
I've been making a lot of, I did my last 8 years, I made 48 action movies. So I thought, but my love is dancing and singing and all of that, that's where I come from. So I'd like to do something kind of like West Side Story again.
Right.
So I came up with the idea of East Side Story, and I decided I would shoot it in Thailand.
Okay.
But then I couldn't find the best dancers in Thailand. And as I'm watching So You Think You Can Dance and Dancing with the Stars, I'm thinking really all the best dancers are in America. So I must go to America to make this picture. So I came to America and proceeded to scout on the East Coast of America,
Right.
because it's called East Side Story. I started to scout locations in Florida, and I wound up in Panama City Beach.
Wow.
They opened their arms to me. They all came out and helped us make the movie. And it was a movie that I felt was kind of the same thing, based on Romeo and Juliet,
Right.
where two opposing parties, one who's a rich girl from Beverly Hills, she meets a poor boy who's a dishwasher at her father's hotel on the beach. And of course the father doesn't want them to be together, but the thing that brings them together is dance, their love of dance. And so I found two of the most talented dancers, Whitney Carson, who's the winner of this year's actually, Dancing with the Stars, and Keon, who was winner of So You Think You Can Dance. And then I got another 8 other kids from winners who were on So You Think You Can Dance. Russell Ferguson, who's brilliant and who actually won the world's best dancer. He beat China in Las Vegas for that title. And so we've got incredible dancing in the show. And then I found some new singers, writers. The last picture I did similar to this was a picture called Thrashin' with Josh Brolin. And the people that I discovered for that movie were the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Bangles, all the Fine Young Cannibals, Meatloaf, and they all became superstars. So I have found some incredibly talented young people as far away as Australia and the Caribbean.
Wow.
And we have some great music in this movie,
Yeah.
and I think they'll be the same. I think we'll have some hit records from this movie too.
I think so too. I wanted to ask you now, when was your aha moment where you thought, I'm going to put myself in the film?
Well, let me tell you, I wrote a part in the film for an older gentleman, and I did write it for myself, but I offered it to George Chakiris.
Okay.
I thought, wouldn't it be great if I had George 50 years later, after he wins the Academy Award for West Side Story, he does East Side Story, and he also wins the Academy Award for that. So George was scared. George was very frightened about the dancing because he hasn't danced in a long time.
Right.
So he actually said, I'm very flattered, David, that you offered me the part, but why didn't you do it? And that's when I thought, yeah, why don't I do it? Exactly.
Right.
So I did it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what made you change the name from East Side Story to Dancing? It's on.
Because I thought that it's not a dramatic, it's not a fight movie. This is a real family Disney kind of a movie. It's a very happy, light-going picture. And I thought if I use East Side Story, that people will relate it to West Side and think of it in terms of drama and everything, and curse words and things that you can't take kids to.
Right.
And our picture, you can take everybody to it, from a little kid to an older person.
Okay, how did you come up with the Hit Parade Hotel? I love that.
Oh, really?
I want to go there. I want to stay there.
Well, I'm actually going to build a Hit Parade Hotel.
You should.
Yeah, we just bought a hotel, and
my
we're going to
gosh.
make it the first Hit Parade Hotel, and that's going to be in Massachusetts, just outside of Boston. Fantastic place, fantastic property. So you're getting a sneak preview of the new Hit Parade
Okay,
Hotel.
You guys better make your reservations because
Yeah,
it
and I'm
looks-
going to hire all singers and dancers
Yeah.
to work, and magicians to work in this hotel, and circus performers too.
Yeah, that really made the movie like really magical.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad
Seeing
you
all
liked
of
it.
that.
You know what it was? It gave me a feeling that, like, when Whitney comes to Panama City, she kind of becomes a part of an Alice in Wonderland kind of a fantasy adventure.
Right.
And that's why I came up with that idea.
Right, and that brings me to, what can dance movie fans expect from this movie that's different from other movies, which we kind of just touched on now?
Right. Well, I
But-
think the dancers, Whitney and Keon and Russell, I think they're the best dancers I've ever seen. You
Right.
know, and I think that you're going to see some incredible dancing, some modern dancing, you know, and their personalities, and it comes out of the characters. So it's not they just stop to do a dance number. Those
Right.
characters, you know, continue in the dancing of the film.
Right, and what do you hope the audience takes away from this movie?
Love, and especially of dancing.
Right,
Yeah. You know, I always say no matter what I may accomplish in my life, I'll always just be a dancer.
right. That's amazing.
So this is about dance, really about dance.
Tell me about the energy of dance when you were a choreographer.
Well, when I was a choreographer, it was just a natural, you know, progression, going from a dancer and being creative. And I used to sit in the control booth and watch what the producer and the director and the choreographer did when other people would go out and have lunch breaks. And I always wanted to do this. It was always, I knew from very young what I was going to do.
Right.
You know, so it was an easy transition for me.
And how do you think the industry has changed from then until now?
Well, what makes it so different now is the fact that the accessibility of the cameras.
Right.
Look at these little cameras we use. We make movies with these little cameras.
Right.
There are kids shooting movies on like your iPhones and things,
Right.
and releasing them in the theaters. So anybody can become a filmmaker today.
Right. In the movie, you play almost like a dance godfather.
Yes.
Who inspired you when you were a dancer and choreographer? Who did
Jerome
you-
Robbins.
I'm sorry?
Jerome Robbins.
Jerome Robbins.
Yeah. Jerome Robbins created West Side Story, The King and I, Pajama Game. He's the greatest.
Wow.
And so he was my mentor.
Mentor, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your most prized memory of being a dancer?
My most prized memory is that they created an Emmy Award because of me.
Oh,
They created the Emmy Award for Best Choreography on television because of me, because of two specials that I did, one with Nancy Sinatra and one with Anne Margaret. And there was no award at the time for Best Choreography, and they created one especially for me.
wow. So you've really paved the way.
I hope so.